I'm sitting by the window now, up in this atrocious nursery, and there is nothing to hinder my writing as much as I please, save lack of strength. John is away all day, and even some nights when his cases are serious. I'm glad my case is not serious. But these nervous troubles are dreadfully depressing. John does not know how much I really suffer. He knows there's no reason to suffer, and that satisfies him. Of course, it is only nervousness. It does weigh on me, so not to do my duty in any way. I meant to be such a help to John, such a real rest and comfort. And here I am, a comparative burden already. Nobody would believe what an effort it is to do little what I'm able. To dress, and entertain and order things. It is fortunate Mary's so good with the baby. Such a dear baby. And yet, I cannot be with him. It makes me so nervous. I suppose John never was nervous in his life. He laughs at me so about this wallpaper. At first, he meant to repaper the room, but afterwards he said I was letting it get the better of me, and that nothing was worse for a nervous patient than to give way to such fancies. He said that after the wallpaper was changed, it would be the heavy bedstead, the barred windows, and then that gate at the end of the stairs, and so on. You know that place is doing you good, he said. And really, dear, I don't care to renovate the house just for 3 months' rental. Then do let us go downstairs, I said. There are such pretty rooms there. Then he took me in his arms and called me a blessed little goose, and said he'd go down to the cellar if I wished, and have it whitewashed into the bargain. But he is right enough, about the beds and the windows and things. It is an airy and comfortable room as anyone need wish, and of course I would not be so silly as to make him uncomfortable just for a whim. I'm really getting quite fond of this big room. All but that horrid paper. Out of one window I can see the garden, those mysterious deep-shaded arbours, the richest old-fashioned flowers and bushes and gnarly trees. Out of another I get a lovely view of the bay and a private little wharf belonging to the house. There is a beautiful shaded lane that runs from there. I always fancy I see people walking in these numerous paths and arbours. But John has cautioned me not to give way to fancy in the least. He says that with my imaginative power and imagination, a nervous weakness like mine is sure to lead to all matter of excited fancies, and that I ought to use my will and good sense to check the tendency. So I try. I think sometimes, if I were only able to write a little, it would relieve the press of ideas and rest me. But I find I get pretty tired when I try. It is so discouraging not to have any advice and companionship about my work. When I get really well, John says he'll ask Cousin Henry and Julia down for a long visit. But he says he'd rather put fireworks in my pillowcase than to have those stimulating people around right now. I wish I could get well faster. But I must not think about that. This paper looks to me as if it knew what a vicious influence it had. There is a recurrent spot where the pattern lolls like a broken neck into two bulbous eyes that stare at you upside down. I get positively angry with the impertinence of it and the everlastingness. Up and down and sideways they crawl, and those absurd unblinking eyes are everywhere. There is one place where two breadths didn't match, and the eyes go all up and down, one a little higher than the other. I never saw so much expression in an inanimate thing, and we all know how much expression they have. I used to lie awake as a child and get more entertainment and terror out of blank walls and plain paper than most children could find in a toy store. I remember what a kindly wink the knobs of our old bureau used to have. and there was one chair that always seemed like a strong friend. I used to feel that if any of the other things looked too fierce, I could hop into that chair and feel safe. The furniture in this room is no worse than inharmonious. However, for we had to bring it all from downstairs. I suppose when this was used as a playroom, they had to take the nursery things out, and no wonder. I never saw such ravages of children. The wallpaper, as I said before, is torn off in spots, and it's sticketh closer than a brother. They must have had perseverance as well as hatred. Then the floor is scratched and gorged and splintered. The plaster itself is dug out here and there. And this great heavy bed, which is all we found in the room, looks as if it's been through the wars. But I don't mind a bit. Only the paper. There comes John's sister. Such a dear girl as she is, and so careful of me. I must not let her find me writing. She's a perfect and enthusiastic housekeeper, and hopes for no better profession. I verily believes she thinks it's the writing which made me sick. But I can write when she's out, and see her a long way from those windows. There is one that commands the road, a lovely shaded winding road, and one that just looks off over the country, a lovely country too, full of great elms and velvet meadows. This wallpaper has a kind of sub-pattern in a different shade, and a particularly irritating one, for you can only see it in certain lights and not clearly then. But in the places where it isn't faded and the sun is just so, I can see a strange, provoking, formless sort of figure that seems to skulk about behind that silly, conspicuous front design. There's Sister on the stairs.